Alright, boys, how's all doing?
Good, man.
Aye, all good.
Good. Welcome back to This My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. Sitting, what are we? Unbeaten still. We're not top of the league anyway, are we?
We're
Can't
third.
Aye, but like technically second, didn't we? Joint second. Same thing, innit?
In terms of football teams that matter, we're top of the league.
Aye, that's what I was going to say. Aye, that's fine. That's fine with me. Aye, cool. Well, welcome back, Ando. What's been happening? How's your week been?
Don't know really what to tell you, man. It's been quite quiet. Nothing really much to say. I wish I had some fucking adventure to tell you that I've been on, or I just fucked that up totally. I'm not even pissed. I've not been on any mad adventures. I've not been up to Scotland. I've had a pretty boring week since we last spoke, and hopefully that changes this weekend when I'm back up in Scotland for the Livy game.
It's pretty boring having a podcast when everything goes plain sailing for your football club, innit?
It is, man. It's like I really want to be hating on something, and I find myself getting aggravated at the most raging thing, the most stupid things ever. It's like I dropped a juice bottle on the floor earlier on, and I was raging that I was going to have to bend down and pick it up. I just kicked it away. It's through there getting just through there getting flat as we speak, and then that will give me something to be raging about tomorrow when I take a swig at it, and it's flat. So that's where
I
I'm
got a text
at.
You got
saying, why was your podcast so short? Like, what was going on? I was like, fuck it, to talk about, man. It's too positive.
Nothing to talk about, man. There's literally nothing to talk about.
Exactly.
Gary Mackay, Stephen, misses sitters all the time. Could probably get angry about that if we wanted to. Tam, other than that, what's been happening?
Not much. Had a few days off this week. Had a wee birthday, so it was lovely. That's about it, really. Just got pissed and ate loads of food for 4 days while I was off.
I think that could be the first time ever the word lovely is mentioned made it to the podcast. I'm really happy you had a lovely birthday. That was nice. Kev, have you been having a lovely week?
No, it's been stress levels at work, but it's been good. My biggest issue, or the biggest thing for me for the whole few days, was the fact of at half-time, our WhatsApp group chat was fucking brilliant for the point of view that everybody was raging that we were 2-1 down. I thought this is us back to normal. This is us back to being venomous, being back to absolutely giving everybody total pelters, and then we go and equalise. And we're just back to normal again. So yeah, quiet weekend really.
Not to mention after 33 minutes when we looked at Twitter and seen HMFC Francis said
told us we were getting beat.
We thought we were getting beat, but turns out he said it should be 2-1. That was also
none of us speak fluent French, and it was a moment. It was a, what do you call it when you can see into the future a wee bit? What did you call it? It's a fancy word for it. Answers on a postcard. Premonition.
Something. We're the worst Hearts fans ever, and we're probably also the worst ever Hearts podcast now, just from that intro.
A lovely premonition. There's the show name in it.
If you're still listening, well done for lasting this long, 3 minutes 50 seconds.
And well, we have to address it since they're not here again, and obviously there's rumours flying everywhere. But we do have to say that Brad's and Shanks have decided to leave the podcast because they think that we've sold it. just because we've got a couple of corporate sponsors now or whatever, they think that we've got too big for our boots. So again, there's nothing much we could say about it. Thanks for all their hard work on the podcast. I don't know where they're getting it for, but thanks for your contribution, lads. And we'll see you the next time.
And for anyone that's listening to the audio, you're going to have to go along to YouTube and finally look at our ugly mugs to figure out what that all meant, because we're not explaining it.
See, back to being seamless, back to being professional, because if you do want to catch us on social medias, you can get us on Twitter at This My Story Pod. You can get in contact with us at the website at admin.thisismystory.uk. Catch us on Instagram at This Is My Story 1874. Now a word from our sponsors.
What's that you're opening now, Ando?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Kev. This is one of my 3 out of 8 cans of craft beers that I just got from Beer 52.
Beer 52? Never heard of them. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I went to beer52.com/my story, and all I paid was £5.95 to cover the postage and packaging, and I'm now part of Beer 52, which is the world's largest beer club. And one of the benefits of that is that each month members like me are sent a case with a different theme.
I've been a member for a few months as well. I've had beers for all over the place. Like past themes have included like Belgium, Korea, California, New Zealand, Germany, Melbourne. Like I've had a beer for Arno Zoom, Daniel Stendhal, Perry Kitchen, Patrick Osnorbo. It's been class.
Does sound interesting. Anything else you get with it?
Yeah, aye. So it comes with a magazine and 2 snacks every month. And guess what? You don't like dark beer? Then choose the light option. Plus, you can pause or cancel at any time. All you need to do is go to beer52.com/my story. And as I say, pay the £5.95 postage to get all of this right now.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
like a class deal to me.
Aye, it does sound good. We got that on the website.
Yes, we do. So check it out, beer52.com/my story.
Magic. I can look at that later on tonight.
Cool. Obviously, we're joking. Brads and Shanks will be back with us next week. Shanks gave us a Shanks McCann. We didn't have one last week, so we'll have one this week. Are we ready for this week's Shanks McCann? Remember?
Fire away.
Cool. So, trained it up from Leeds, ditched my bag at the lockers at Waverley, battered on the tonic, German bombers at Middleton's, flares in the park, worst Heart side in a generation, scudded them in their own backyard. We've got a diamond. So, that is this week's Shanks McCann. What, again, as always, what game is it? Where was it? Tell us about it. And we will definitely remember to put it on social media this time.
100%.
100%. 100% that will happen.
I'll do it tonight.
Aye, that's what we want. We'll definitely make it happen. Cool. Well, like we said this week, we'll obviously discuss the week that was Hearts. Again, we're scraping a barrel of things to talk about. We'll review Ross County away, preview the game against Livingston, the side I hate more than any other team in Scotland. So that'll be fun and games for everybody, and then just any other nonsense in between. So, anything else anybody wants to talk about?
No. I was going to bring up one thing, which was a serious point, but nah, it doesn't feel like the time or place. We'll maybe do it later, but we'll see how we go.
Why not? Let's go. What's a serious point? Let's bring it back to podcast level.
Right, okay, like, are you? I'm just gonna ask everybody here: are you panicking about how we're going about our season, or are you actually quite chill about it? So, and by that I mean, like, if you look at, are we better or worse than where you predicted at this stage in the season? And have we set a new level of expectation just by where we are so far this season? So that's basically the two questions. So are you panicking or are you chill? And actually I think we're doing all right for where we are so far this season.
I'm panicking on the basis of hopefully there's not another lockdown next May when the cup trophy is and the trophy goes round.
We won trophies.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get an open top bus ceremony and all that. That'll be good. So yeah.
This season's got me thinking like banana, wheat, and clove, and I was thinking, what could you put them all together into a fine package, and that would maybe be what this season is. That's what I would be thinking. No, you're right. It's making me. It's uneasy. Is probably what it is. The whole thing makes me uneasy because, and we've said it before. We said it before at the start of the season, and we'll keep saying it now. Whether you're a fan of Robbie Neilson or not, the facts, the stats, all that sort of stuff back up the fact that Robbie Neilson, he just knows how to deliver things for Hearts. Do I think that will be amazing and play scintillating football under Robbie? No. Do I think we'll ever be in a position that we were like when Craig Levein left? No. Do I think we'll be there or thereabouts pretty much every season that he's in charge? Yeah, I think we will be. I think that, again, it's something where we're going to talk about in the headlines, but we might as well talk about it now. I like the fact that Robbie's quite bullish. You know, we know last season he says some things in the sort of heat of the moment type thing that rile people up and annoy us. You know, this infamous stuff about supporting Man City or Man United all that type of stuff, the famous money spinning replay and that. But I liked the way he handled the draw with Hibs. I liked his comments after the match. Do you know what I mean? Highlighting, they're celebrating a draw, we're raging in there, which is like great. But again, you then have to go out the next game week and make sure you get a result, which we did. It's the same stuff. He spoke well against Celtic. Fine, well, next game week you can't then go out and lose away to St Mirren, and we didn't. And it's the same here. He spoke about the disappointment of not taking all 3 points at Ross County. The next 2 games at home for me define the season, because they're the games we struggled for years, for ages. It's felt ages ago since I last rocked up to Tynecastle and we just won a run-of-the-mill regular home game in the top flight. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's been years since we beat Motherwell at Tynecastle, years since we probably beat Livingston at Tynecastle in the top flight. We've beat St Mirren and Aberdeen, I think, Celtic and Rangers. Every other team in Scotland, Hamilton, Ross Counties, your Levies, Kilmarnocks, we've all struggled over the years. So I don't know if we've set a new expectation, but it definitely makes you feel uneasy, because Tam's right. You always feel there's something just round the corner that's going to absolutely derail us and smash us and make us back to being the miserable guys that everybody loves. Kev, what you been thinking?
It's definitely, everybody knows perfectly well. If you listen back to 5-6 weeks ago when we were talking about the first 5 or 6 games of the season, I was giving us 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely didn't believe. Didn't get me wrong, there was still a couple of signings to come in from that point of view, but I didn't see where a great deal of goals were coming from. I thought we were going to rely so much on Boyce, and we have to an extent. Don't get me wrong. And we're probably still asking, where is that other goal scorer in the team at this moment in time? But we've definitely, I think, set a new expectation. I'm definitely in a better position just now, sitting with 12 points than where I probably was expecting to be. But I'm also in this horrible position at this moment in time, going that I'm absolutely raging that we've dropped points against Aberdeen, we've dropped points against Ross County, and we've dropped points against Hibs. That's 6 points in my opinion that we've actually dropped this season. That could be the difference between finishing 3rd and 4th. Could be the difference between 4th and 5th. I'm not saying that we're going to keep on this particular run or whatever, but that's these we will come to a point at the end of the season when we're going to actually review the season, what we think of it, and we'll go, do you know what? We're sitting in X position with X points, but we should be in Y position with Y points.
But that's always that's football, isn't it? And I'm not sure 100%. That's football, because we could also easily be sitting and saying, right, well, Celtic got an offside goal against us that probably shouldn't have been offside. Craig Gordon's made the most saves in the Premier League for where we are. So you could be sitting. I tweeted after the game on Saturday to say that nobody could argue if Hearts weren't sitting top 6 wins out of 6. You couldn't, because we've done enough in the matches to say that would be fair. But on the flip side of that, you could also argue, well, actually, if we were only sitting on 5 or 6 points, we could probably argue as well to say, well, actually, we've got no argument because our goalkeeper has been superb. He's kept us in the match. But that, for us, that's been a luxury that we haven't had for
ages,
5-6 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, since John McLaughlin, Neil Alexander, or whatever, we haven't had that where every team's going to get in behind. Every team's going to get a chance. Doesn't matter if it's Brora Rangers or Glasgow Rangers. They're going to, in football, they'll create chances and you expect your goalkeeper to save them. But for over the last few years, our goalkeepers haven't saved them, and we've ended up in a horrendous situation. But I agree. They do feel like drop points. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially Aberdeen. I don't think Aberdeen were great in what they've subsequently went on to do.
Yeah.
They've not been that impressive. The Hibs one, to be honest, on reflection, a draw probably is round about where the two teams are. I think it's probably a fair result, a fair reflection of where the two teams are. We had chances, they had chances, that's fine. But Ross County were stinking. Yeah, and we were really, really good. And that was going to be my point to you. I know we're going to come on and we'll review Ross County, but one thing I did want to highlight was what Kev had said there is, if anything, that Saturday showed us and his goal at Tannadice sort of covered it up, is that we really did need somebody else to come in, because I just don't think Nando is going to be the answer in this league.
Agreed.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I do think there's an element though of, in regards to Nando, I think that we have to play him in a position, in such a way that we actually do get to the byline. We do look to bring to pull the ball back. I think that's the way in which we would get more out of him, but that's not the way we play, as we've already spoken about. Christ knows how many times on this podcast about the inverted wingers. They come inside. As soon as you come inside, you're effectively taking Nando out of the game. Boyce not so much, because Boyce will follow up on any drop for a keeper, parry off from a keeper, whatever. Nando, I don't think that's his game. His game is big ball up front, him holding it off, laying it off to a winger who's then going to cross it back in for him. That's the way I see him being more.
And that's what I think worried me more about watching his performance on Saturday, is if you look at his chances, they're the chances that he missed.
Yeah.
We did put crosses. The formation we played on Saturday, its sole purpose was to put crosses into the box for Nando. And he had 2 free headers that he made a mess of, had a couple of cutbacks that he made a mess of. He wasn't the only one. Barry Mackay, Gary Mackay-Sitter, they all missed chances in that as well. But again, that's what worried me more about Saturday, is the fact that we did kind of play, the whole formation felt like it was set up so that we could play Nando up front. Do you know what I mean? Because 3-4-3, we could have made it work with the players that were out, all that sort of stuff. We changed formation. We've taken Cochrane out. We've took Haring out. 2 of probably our most consistent performers over the season, so that we could get Barry Mackay in to get wide and put crosses in, so we could get Woodburn wide and put crosses in and all that sort of stuff. And that was to accommodate having Nando as a focal point up front. And he missed probably the most gilt-edged chances of the match, and that's a bit of a worry. And that's not trying to single him out, that's just how it was. Do you know what I mean? That he just, everybody was the one that kind of highlighted to me where we have the biggest areas of concern, is the fact that we didn't bring another striker in for me. So obviously there are a couple of things that we'll talk about. We may as well just talk about County anyway, since we're talking about it anyway. The yellow for Ben Woodburn was a joke, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's been proven by the fact that it's been rescinded, essentially.
Aye, but I don't even... It feels like it's a pure guess for the ref, and I think that's what worries me. Like, we say it all the time, right? Don't get me wrong, England have full-time refs. It's a profession in England. Yeah. Here, it's still a voluntary thing. So you can say, for example, Mike Dean in English Premier League made a mistake. He probably did make a mistake. So his interpretation of what I saw, he's made the call that you can see VAR or whatever makes it look even sillier than it was at the time. What worries me about Saturday is that's just an absolute guess. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the standard of refereeing is poor, because that you can't have a referee in games that matter. Like you said, Kev, those 2 points could be the difference between finishing third, finishing second, European spot, not a European spot. Those all have financial implications at football clubs, and we can't have our top refs just guessing as to what they think's happened. Do you know what I mean? And that's not just to be fair with Hearts as well. Like the offside goal with Celtic, that was a guess. They weren't up to play. They've just took a guess and thought, well, I'll play the chances and say that hopefully I got that right. And that for me has always been the worry with Scottish football, is that there's not enough pressure put on the referees to be better. Do you know what I mean? It's all this sort of cloak and dagger stuff. You're not allowed to say you were crap. Do you know what I mean?
See, on that, I know exactly what you mean, but see, on that point, then I don't know if I'm making this up or not, but I remember hearing, I'm sure it was Darryl Broadfoot on BBC Scotland, talking about the implementation of VAR in Scotland would cost upwards of £10 million a season, and that would all have to be, that was just for the top division, that would have to be shouldered by all the clubs equally, right? So the one way, the silver bullet to getting rid of all these things is, now that we've seen how VAR works in England and in the continent and how they use it in UEFA, you can take the learnings from that 2 or 3 years down the line, install it and say, right, okay, that's going to be the fix for it. Then do you think on a cost to benefit basis, is that something that we should be looking as a club to try and peddle that agenda and say, right, we know that it's going to cost us our share of £10 million per year. If you balance that with the fact that you might not lose as many points from shit decisions as you quite rightly point out that could benefit your league position. I don't know if it's really worth it in Scotland yet, but probably want to discuss.
Well,
For me,
I was going to say, I was just going to say, am I right in thinking that did Hearts not volunteer to bring in VAR in Holland? And I might be wrong. I'm sure the top 2 or 3 clubs in Holland pay for VAR for the whole league. They just take the cost for the clubs that can't afford it. And I think Hearts either suggested that Celtic and Rangers do the same, but Hearts would also be willing to chip in and pay for it. But again, it's just one of those things that we would have to have, because look at what happened. Was it Dougie McDonald? Is that the right ref? Made a mistake against Celtic and they literally chased him out the game. The refs went on strike. He retired,
right,
all that type
You're
of
going
stuff.
back to the early 2000s with that one, but it
got
was a while ago.
Somebody said that Anthony Stokes or somebody dived when he didn't, and then they listened to the call logs because the refs have got the mics on or whatever, and heard that he said that he guessed or whatever, and whatever happened, refs went on strike, he retired, and all that sort of stuff. We would literally need refs from a different country. You know what it's like in here. Do you know what I mean? The first decision that went wrong for either of the 2 of them, they would just get bombarded constant, and it would just be totally and utterly pointless. Would be reviewing every decision, and it would just be, it would be too much a pain in the arse, I think. Kev, talking of pains in the arse, Kev, what were you going to say?
Lined that one up perfectly. Seamless, exactly. All I was going to say is we spoke about it last week when we were talking about sort of news articles, was about the members clubs, ourselves, Hibs, Dundee United, Aberdeen, can't mind who else is involved in it, but we've looked at independent advisors to actually assist with a holistical review of the SPFL.
That's to do with commercial performance, though.
I know it's to do with commercial, but then is it something that we can effectively incorporate within, so that we can turn around and say, well, from a commercial point of view, we want to be able to introduce this. We want to be able to.
You can't, because the SFA, it's the SFA. Sorry to steamroll you, but it's the SFA that are responsible for referees. So the commercial performance is specifically to do with the SPFL, whereas the refereeing performance is the SFA. 2 different organisations.
But does that not? To me, that goes 2-hand though. I know what you're saying, Ando, is, but the fact is, if we can actually say that from a commercial point of view, we want to introduce this because we want to provide a better product, then the SFA have got to actually sit up and listen to say, well, do you know what? The clubs are actually right. If we produce a better product, not only for the fans who are going to a game, but also the fans that are sitting in their armchairs, so we cover most of Glasgow with that. But from that point of view, what we're able to actually do is provide a better product for everybody involved in it. And what we've actually then got is a better product that we can actually sell on, and we then sell that on to a Sky or to an ESPN or whoever it may be, because it all then goes hand in hand, in my opinion.
But the SFA don't care about that. That's what the SPFL are there to care about.
I think the bigger picture is what you have just highlighted there, is there shouldn't be 2 governing bodies for a start. That's a joke, because like you said, they couldn't, with what, for a season we didn't have a sponsor for the league. The fact what we've had our major competitions sponsorless. Do you know what I mean? You then look at the fact that, like, Hibs played Dundee United tonight in the quarter-final of the League Cup. St Johnstone played Dundee yesterday. Dundee, if they'd got to Hampden, it had been the first time they'd been in Hampden in 15 years. St Johnstone are on 2 games away from retaining the League Cup, which again is just rewriting history. Celtic played Raith Rovers at Celtic fucking Park, and Rangers played Livingston. Guess what ties were picked to go on the telly to sell the game? Yep. Raith Rovers versus Celtic in front of 25,000 at Celtic fucking Park. And guess what? Celtic won. Shot corner. Rangers won. Do you know what I mean?
Livingston didn't even have a shot off target. Never mind on target as well.
Can I just say though, those people who actually watched that particular game for Parkhead tonight must have got to see the disco lights.
They did get to see the disco lights. That is
fucking
true.
Hell.
But there
you go. Just for John McGlynn, eh? Just for John McGlynn turning up at Parkhead, they put on the disco lights for him.
That's where we have the problem. And again, that was highlighted at the weekend there, right? So Dundee United beat Dundee in the derby, right? And it was, the quality was lacking or whatever, but they won 1-0, right? Go back a month. Rangers beat Celtic 1-0. Dundee United's game was poor, lacking in quality. Rangers versus Celtic was pulsating. It was pulsating, and it was an unbelievable game. It was pish. It was pish like Dundee United Dundee. It was pish like Hearts v Hibs. It was pish, right? It was a terrible game, which is what derbies are. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't see free-flowing football in derbies. They're battles, they're nervous touches and all that sort of stuff. It's what makes derbies derbies. It's why you like them. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I mean is, one is, without fail, you cannot say that game was crap, which is the Old Firm, and any other game that comes up. And again, I'll use this point because it's a salient point and it always bugs me. Hearts went to Easter Road and beat Hibs 3-1 pre-COVID. There was a missed red card, a penalty, 3 goals for the away side that was on the verge of relegation, a comeback potential goal at the end, and people described that game as boring. That's what they said. It was lacking in quality. It was a terrible game. It's like, what? What game did you watch, man? What game did you watch? It's all right. We can sell. You can sell the Scottish game, but you can sell the Scottish game without having to talk about its 2 biggest things. How many times do you see an advert for a Big Mac in McDonald's? You don't. How many times do you see Levi's advertise 501s? You don't. Adidas and Sambas, you don't. All of them are the best selling lines in all of those brands. You don't need to market them. People buy them. They know what it is. You market the fillet o' fish because Nick buys that. There you go. There's the first beep. There's the first beep.
We wanted an easy editing job tonight, Corbett. Thanks for that, but I'll write it down.
Well, you've got one. Just remember, when we talk about McDonald's, I say the word. You'll be able to fix it. It's no bother. But see, that's what I mean. Is like, that's what marketing is. That's what marketing is. You take a product that's maybe not working and you brand it so that it works better. Do you know what I mean? And that's where it's went shite. What a rabbit hole that was.
Look at half the games of football. Like, this Monday is Crystal Palace versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Who gives a fuck? But I bet you Sky market it like fuck to make people care about it.
They'll dig out the stats around it. They'll do some fancy graphics, and it'll be advertised pretty much between now and kickoff. And that's what they do. It's very good.
Whereas our broadcaster for our league is Sky, and they can't even get the badge right for half the teams when they put them on Sky Sports News. So
hey, I do like it when the Green Bay Packers play Aberdeen. That's a great game. That's a great game.
Do they not call that game down south something like the M7 derby or something like that?
It's called a derby named after a motorway.
And the 2 of them are like opposite ends of it. Like fucking 72 miles between the 2 of them. How the fuck they can call that a derby is beyond me, arseholes.
They packaged Tottenham versus Chelsea as the zero carbon derby. They had Eric Dyer walking about a fucking vegetable patch looking at tatties going, I throw my stuff in the recycling bin. How the fuck is this football, man? How is this? What's happened to the world, man? What the fuck has happened here? Do you know what I mean? It makes no sense.
I was genuinely worried that tonight's actual podcast wouldn't have any banter, but then we've just gone on that. One of the best rabbit holes we've been down for a long time.
Zero carbon. It means that the 70,000 in the crowd weren't breathing. they just sat like that, holding their breath in for 90 minutes, going, I need to breathe when I get out. Can you ruin the zero carbon derby? Absolute fucking gimps.
I loved your rant there about how this derby's pish and that derby's pish. You're absolutely right. But just to go back to that other point, I enjoyed the Dundee derby and I did watch it on Sunday. I thought that was better than the Old Firm derby just because it had both sets of fans in it. It was fucking, that was the degree of separation. The football, it was the same level of shite. But I think what we've learned is Scottish football, it's all pish.
What are we even talking about? It was VAR, for fuck's sake. We got to this.
We're talking about Nando. Nando not been any good.
Nando, oh, what?
Or zero
I didn't
carbon
mind their
striker.
chicken.
There's a
Well
show
done,
named
Kev.
Ando, the zero carbon striker. Fucking hell.
That's what you want. Aye, back to actually, does Ross County not have a mad like name like what Hamilton used to do for like the Cannabis Stadium or whatever it is? They're not going to be like Zero Energy fucking dome or
it's
something
Victoria
like that.
Park, but that's the name of the actual ground. But give me a wee second, I'll just quietly pretend I'm fucking.
It'll be
I know
something
this.
stupid.
I'm sure it's like Energy Assets, is it
The
not?
Global
It'll be
Energy
something
Stadium,
like
is that it?
Global
Yeah, it is. Aye, there
That's
you
it,
go.
aye.
Google's my friend. The Global
So we
Energy
played
Stadium.
we played in our very own zero carbon derby on Saturday.
Well, can we not just say, right, because we're both in Scotland, it was the Square Sausage Derby, or some shit like that? Is it something that you can just apply to Scotland? Two opposite ends of it.
Probably not be allowed. Probably not be allowed to say that.
The veganists, the vegetabilists, and the veganists will go mental.
The veggie haggis derby. How about that?
The last thing we'll talk about for Ross County was the fans again. Unbelievable to have away days back. I think we had 1,500 Hearts fans or something. Ross County. By the looks of it, I think 90% of them were absolute burst. Probably. I seen tweets from people the next again day being like, "Fucking who even played?"
Issues with the train coming back, I believe. Having problems.
Stop real, man.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to do that one, you may as well just stay up there for the whole weekend.
Definitely.
Go up on the Friday, come back on the Tuesday. Fuck it.
No, have you been to Dingwall though? It's a shithole. Is it actually a shithole?
100%.
It's pretty bad. Like,
still back in 1958, I think. So, but hopefully their beer prices are also the same.
Let's get it back on the topic. We'll just quickly talk about the change of shape. So obviously, for me, there's loads of positives with it. In terms of we created loads and loads and loads and loads of chances, played pretty much on the front foot the whole game, and added comic value because defensively we were absolutely honking. There was no defending going on whatsoever. But what did you think about the change of shape?
It was the classic, I don't know if anyone plays Football Manager, but it's the gung-ho formation where everyone just goes for it and then defensively just...
I did tweet saying that I wanted Robbie to embrace the fuck it tactics.
Fuck it tactics,
man.
Does that mean we can blame you?
Go for it, mate. I was like, Malcolm Mackay, what's his name in it? Malcolm Mackay in it?
Aye.
He's just a racist wank, man. Fuck it. Just go after him, man. Do you know what I mean? Play any formation that gets him fucked. I don't give a shit, man. So I was happy with that. Like, but
I'm glad you DM'd Robbie Nielsen before the game and just said, right, Robbie, just go for it. Fuck it, man. In all seriousness, though, like the back three, we've seen its faults in terms of actually creating chances, but defensively, oh my god, like. Craig Halkett needs to stay in a back three. If he's not playing in a back three, he doesn't play for me.
Yeah, I'm on that boat as well. Yeah. Again, I think so. We obviously played four at the back. Well, we played Kingsley. I thought Kingsley was brilliant. I know he scored a peachy free kick or whatever, but again, it just reiterated my view that Cochrane's been great and steady. He's been, reliable or whatever, but I think Kingsley is better as left back. I think Mikey Smith is better as a right back. But again, you're saying, well, actually, then the problem comes is that Halkett isn't great in a back four. He's looks much more composed and more comfortable in a three. But then that means that Kingsley has to play as a centre back and vice versa or whatever. So they're good problems to have. That's what we said at the start of the podcast, man. Like, we've changed something up, got a more attacking formation, a more attacking performance, but defensively we didn't look as sound as what we have. But then you've got to say, right, well, Craig Gordon and the back three have been settled all season. We played the same back three almost in the same thing. You're then asking him to play in different bits. It knocks you out your rhythm. So did that play into it? But I'm all for it. I would like to see what we played on this Saturday, because it's at Tynecastle, I think, where we have our biggest issues.
Well, I do agree with you to a certain extent and say that these are good problems to have, but a part of me just looks back to last season where, like, I think for the vast majority in parts of the season, it felt like Nielsen didn't really know what his best formation or team was. And I'm worried about him personally going down a rabbit hole with this when he's trying these things and maybe not getting the outcome that he wants. It feels like trying to change the tire on a moving car. It's like, it just seems like, I don't know. I think it's maybe a little bit dangerous, and I'm not trying to pour scorn on what happened at the weekend, because obviously we got a decent result away from home, if you want to call it that, by a change of shape. But you know what I mean. He is the Tinker Man,
The Tinker Man,
the Claudio Ranieri of the SPL, or the SPFL. And I'm worried that we're going to get sidetracked and bogged down with the minutiae of the formations and all this sort of stuff, when we should just go out and smash cunts. There's a bleep needed.
The word minutia would go really well with a Chicago IPA.
It would, actually.
feels like the type of people that would drink this would say Minutiae or Minutia or whatever you want to call it. There you go.
It's actually a small town outside Milwaukee. But
is it?
Short, guys.
There you go, mate. Well done. Well done. No, but I agree. And I think I've said before, Robbie Nielsen could play 8 folk up front and budging goals. As long as we get results, I couldn't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? But the problem that we had last year is we were doing all these stupid things and drawing with Ayr United or getting beat at Dunfermline and all that sort of stuff. And that's when it's like anything. I've said it before. When you start to know the under-21's coach name, the CEO's name, the head of sports sciences name, that's when you know things only gone right. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to get back to the days where you knew the starting 11 and the manager and the chairman. That was it. Everybody else were just people that worked for Hearts. You didn't give a shit about them. Do you know what I mean? In the nicest way possible. They did their job and you didn't care. And that's what it was like. You're right. We've got this baggage with Robbie, is that he does like to change formation, and we've got the square peg, round hole stuff and all that. We've had that before. But it feels different now. That it feels like Robbie's under pressure. Like, we know from speaking to Joe Savage, his view on where he wants Hearts to be. We've seen his recruitment plan and what his vision for Hearts is, and we've only seen it for like a month, 2 months of the transfer window there. And look at the players we've got in. We've got Benny in, we've got Woodburn in, we've got Mackay in. These guys look good additions to the team. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where it feels different now. Whereas I feel like previously we could maybe have a run of bad results and there'd be no pressure. Whereas now it feels different. It feels like with the recruitment plan that we have, with the ambition of the club, if we went to 3-4 games without a win, poor performances, and that I think the heat would be on there. And for me, that's what Robbie needs as a manager. And he needs to, like you said, if he does start playing champ man and tinkering with stuff, you need somebody there that comes down to be like, no, mate, that wasn't acceptable. Like, you know what I mean? The performance wasn't good enough, all that sort of stuff. So we might as well talk about Livingston anyway. We've got Livingston on Saturday. Is there anything that you would change or anything that you would bring from Saturday into Livingston?
The only one thing I'd change is I'd probably put Shanks in the home end. I think if anyone wants to search him on WhatsApp or whatever, you'll find a gif of him. It's quite funny, but that's the only thing I'd change. Joking aside, though, I think we're at home. It's Livingston. We set up absolutely aggressive. Livingston have been absolutely utter dug meat so far this season. I know they've had a result against Celtic, but that's an outlier.
But who hasn't?
Exactly. Even we have. Like, that is an outlier, and shouldn't even really be considered. Celtic are absolute mince this season, so forget about that. Play Livingston based on the games that they've set up against similar opposition. And we should absolutely destroy them at home. I'm expecting a 4 or a 5 score. Genuinely.
Right, well, we'll come for predictions in a minute. Kev, what were you going to say?
I think the only thing I was going to say is, for what I've seen of the game, I was really impressed with Cammy Devlin's performance when he came on. I think he got about 30 minutes, 35, was it as much as that actually? I thought he sort of gave a little bit of impetus in regards to the midfield. He wanted to, and let's be honest, it was his first game. He might want to, the boy Callahan looked great in his first game again for Hearts away back in 2017-18, whatever the season it was we bought him. But I genuinely thought there was something about the guy. I did actually wonder whether or not if we'd actually started with him in midfield, would we have been as lackluster? Because I genuinely felt we were lackluster in the first half. So for that point of view, I wonder. I would like to see him come into the squad. At GMS, I'm sorry, but he has to take a whether it's a seat in the bench or whether it's actually a seat in the stand and watches the game, to allow somebody else to take up that position, be it Gino, who never played on Saturday. In fact, I don't think he was even in the squad on Saturday, if I remember rightly. Is that maybe something we look at doing, changing the way we look at it from his point of view?
I tend to agree with you on that one, because we spoke about earlier on, not earlier on tonight, but earlier on in previous podcasts about competition for places being a good thing, and I think that is, given his recent performances and his misses, then it's just it's a conversation to say, right, you know what, you've been good, you've played well, but you've not been like you've hit 85%. We need 90 to 95%. So because of that, you're sitting this one out, pal. I think that is definitely the way we should go.
We dropped him last season, if you remember. Towards the end of the season, he dropped out the team completely, and then when he came back in, he went on a scoring run.
True.
So again, it's something that you look at it two ways. He's missed sitters against Aberdeen, Hibs, and now Ross County. You get the old Alan Shearer mentality and say, well, you look at the positives, is that he's in those positions to miss those chances, which is fine. But we've got to start putting him in the net. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we can't afford to be missing.
He's missed too many. He's missed too many. He missed game against Hibs, the game against Aberdeen, the game against Ross County. I mean, there's 3 games without even actually thinking about it.
Aye.
So
it's fine margins, but fine margins are the difference in this league.
Yep.
They're now the difference for the club, in my opinion, because of the recruitment that we've actually brought in. So Mackay-Steven dropping out would be mine. If you want to look at MD playing that 10 role, I would say Woodburn's your better player for playing the 10.
Yeah, I thought so.
And then from that point of view, you look at bringing Devlin in. If you want, you could always look at do we look at putting Kingsley back in the back 3 and bringing Haring back into the squad again.
You dropped the word impetus there. Are you looking for a Newman sponsorship? Is that what's happening? Is Beer 52 not enough for you? No.
Beer 52, bike speed.
Newman.
We'll take them all. We were looking for Manscaped the other week there after you had your.
Oh, that's true.
Your beard issues. So I'm slightly disappointed that they never picked us up on Twitter after me dropping it in.
That's a shame. It's a shame, isn't it? Well, actually, we can talk about one of the things because we'd mentioned it there. I think Saturday was probably the least effective that I've seen Benny.
Yeah.
He was maybe potentially at fault for one of the goals in terms of he was skinned a bit too easily, and I don't think that can be missed as the fact that Haring didn't play. I think that he didn't look as effective without Haring next to him. I agree. I thought Devlin played well when he came on, but like I said, McAneff has looked good coming off the bench and being able to change things for 30 minutes. What's been really impressive with Benny and Haring is that they've managed to do that from minute 1. Do you know what I mean? And that's where that's why Benny's been so impressive, is it's been an age since we've had a midfielder that from minute 1 to minute 90 dictates the game, is involved in the game, sets the tempo for us. It's been a while since we had that, and that's what I hope Devlin can be.
This may be a bold statement, but see just the way he moves and he runs and the way that the ball seems to stick to his feet. He puts me in mind, although obviously his hair's completely different, is Jean-Louis Valois. He was the kind of guy that was like that. I absolutely loved him. I think between Valois and Benny, can you think of anyone in that position that was as good or as effective?
Valois more England.
What's that?
Was Valwa
He
no a
was,
winger?
but if you were alive and
I
went
just like saying in that position.
and went to games,
I was
you
just
you
like
would see he affected things all over the park.
Aye. I like Ando. Oh wait, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to sing the Wawa song and thinking if it fits into the Cammy Devlin. If we can get Cammy Devlin in there and have 12 Valwas. It's coming up to Christmas. We need a festive song.
12 Cammy Devlins. Maybe.
Nah, see, that works. That
Okay.
works. Cool. Aye, Livingston, like I said, a team I hate more than any other side in Scotland. They should be a car park, an overspill car park for the centre. It's an embarrassment that they're even in our league. Get them absolutely pumped. What's your pal called, Tam, that's getting battled on Saturday? What's his name?
All of them.
There's a few.
There's a right. We'll name them. Name
them.
What they call the Livingston Fan Podcast.
Well, I had an appearance on the Ammon View podcast the other night.
Oh, hold the
I hope you
fucking
get
bus
battled or
here.
not.
What a minute.
So-
Are you franchising yourself out, you wee prick?
Ever since
Absolute.
ever since I hosted the show a few weeks ago, I've been getting inundated with responses about
Mental
like,
how much you get. You're in demand
Yeah.
when you host a
I
podcast.
I searched Tam from This Is My Story on Pornhub, and you actually made an appearance there with your stupid wee looking face, but never mind.
I thought that was private. Fuck's sake.
It's weird that Livingston are trying to make this some sort of derby, innit? They seem to think that this is some sort of like rivalry
The
or something.
MacArthur Glen
I did
derby.
bring that up the other day there, to be fair, and I was like, it's ridiculous. What? Why? Like,
Sticking with
the rivals, just stick to fucking Bavgate Juniors or something. I don't know.
Aye. Sticking with the Sky Sports element, we could call it I would like to call it the M8 derby, but I don't think that would be accurate. So we'd have to call it like the A7 or A71, depending which route they actually take.
The roundabout derby.
Aye.
Yeah, the roundabout. We could do that. Aye, no, it's weird. It is weird, but they're due a pumping. To be honest with you, it's been ages since we've managed to beat Diddy teams. So hopefully Saturday is that day. Other than who plays for Livy? I don't know. Andrew Shenny. He scored on Sunday, didn't he?
I was going to say.
That Obalai boy that scored 3 against us for Queen South last year.
I think the only one I knew was J. Emmanuel Thomas, but he's away at Aberdeen now, isn't he? So I've got no idea. Strayek, I think, is the goalkeeper.
Jason Holt plays for them.
Oh, aye. Well, let's be worried then. So right, back to the original point.
I quite like Jason Holt, but
back to the original point, Tam. Who out of your Livy mates that you're taking to the pub on Saturday
is getting
battered off me? Because I'll fight all of them.
Well, if you're meeting me at the pub, you'll find it.
Who's the one that who was the one that played the piano on that song?
Just
he's getting
it. He's getting it.
I'm sharing it on Twitter on Saturday, and I'm dropping a WhatsApp pin on Twitter so he's know exactly where he is and I'll be getting battered.
I'll stand outside the front of the pub.
Why do you know where my location is? That's awkward.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go back to our normal formation and we'll back to 3-4-3. I would imagine. I think we'll obviously Gordon in goals. We'll have Suter, Kingsley, and Halkett at the back, and then anywhere I think we'll see Haring and Benny again. Then it's just, well, who do we see out wide? Will we see Smith and Cochrane? Will we potentially see, maybe a Barry Mackay play there, or a Gary Mackay-Stephen? He has done it at previous clubs that he's played for as a wing back. We'll definitely see Woodburn. We'll see Boyce. Boyce's stats are a joke. Did you see the thing that goals per game, assists, everything? He's an actual stat machine. It's a total joke. Everybody is rightly talk about how good Benny is, but we'll be lucky to keep a hold of Boyce as well come the transfer windows in the summer, because we, for as much as we created chances on Saturday, we actually only create 1 or 2 chances for Boyce a game, and he converts them. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Boyce had half the chances that we set up for Ando, we probably would have won quite comfortably.
This is old news, man. I told you this over a year ago about how fucking brilliant he was.
Do you know what you should do, Ando? You should sit back, put your feet up, and enjoy yourself a nice IPA. Just bask in the glory of your superior knowledge on Liam.
I am going for a Hefeweizen, just in celebration of my own magnificence.
You're a bit wheaty and clovish.
I like a banana as well.
Well, there we go. Kev, you're in the thing for a firm banana, you know? Is that not what you were asking Newman for?
Yes.
Is that not what you were in the market for?
Definitely. I think we all are at some point in the evening.
Speaking about dicks, Lee Griffiths, he's a bit of a dick, isn't he?
I've no sympathy.
Or is that just like we knew that already? He just proved it even more.
Mate, if we're going to be serious for a second, why do football and footballers let wankers get away with this stuff? Like, the amount of people that will make excuses for Gaza bugs me. The amount of people that will make excuses for Lee Griffiths bugs me. Like, what more does this guy need to do before somebody turns around and goes, do you know what? This guy's just an Ed.
Well,
this guy's just.
We were chatting about this pre-show, right? So I don't know if you bothered watching the Dundee derby. Probably not, because it was shite, as we've covered already. But then there was a little bit an interview with Sky Sports. Now, obviously, his agent has probably had a hand in this, which is right. Let's do a sit down with Luke Shanley and Liam Boyce. Liam Boyce, fucking hell, man, fuck.
You've got Boyce on the way,
man. Boyce, I'm sorry, mate. Please don't hate me. I apologise. But I sit down with Lee Griffiths and talk about his training regime and the mistakes he's made in the past and all that sort of stuff. So it almost feels like they're bigging him up, like trying to clean up his image or whatever, right? And you think, right, fair enough. He's maybe turned a corner at Dundee. And he's a wee bit better than where he was a year ago or whatever, right? And then he goes and just fucking burns all that to the ground by kicking a fucking firework into the face of some old granny in the stand. You think, what the fuck, man? It's like, you're back to stealing Lucozade out of Tesco, allegedly. Don't have the lawyers on.
It's not allegedly, but
did he get done for it? Fuck him.
Andy admitted it as well on the Open Goal podcast.
Right? It's just, what a complete, absolute fucking weapon of a boy. I have no sympathy at all. Been given opportunities to change and rebrand his image, and he's just fucking shat on it from a high height. Fuck him.
Right. But the thing is, I kind of would have respected it more if he just said, I was annoyed and I fucking shouldn't have done it. But when he tried to say he just tried to remove it from the party. He's like drop kicked it, man.
He went to Rose Ed, man.
He's kicked it Rose Ed, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, get a grip, man.
It's the best left foot I've seen Griffiths actually hit, probably in the last 2-3 seasons, maybe.
Kicks against England.
Aye.
But that's the thing that bugs me. That's what we're going back to what we've said about with football players or whatever. If people didn't make excuses for Gaza, would it help them in the long run? Would it have made them actually think about what he was doing? If somebody had actually stopped making excuses for Griffiths Day, would they have towed the line a bit more or whatever? It's the fact that there's no reprimand or anything that seems to happen for all the stuff that he gets away with. But I can't wait till it comes to Tynecastle because he's going to get it fucking stinking. And I cannot wait. There we go. There's a call to arms for everybody listening. Make sure that it's absolute venom for him if he's not banned or sacked or something by the time.
Likelihood is he'll be banned for that game.
You don't have long to wait because it's Saturday the 23rd of October, Dundee come to Tynecastle. So it's only a couple of weeks away, really. Well, a month.
If he is banned, just
rescind it, cancel the ban. Cancel
him anyway, man. It'll be fine. He wasn't playing on Saturday and we were abusing him, so that's right. He doesn't play for Ross County, so there we go. All right, let's quickly go down then for preview for Livingston predictions. Ando, what's your score prediction?
Well, if anyone wants to go along to the website, this is mystory.uk/predictor. This week's round is up there along with the bonus question, and I have predicted Hearts 4, Livy 0.
Nice one. Tam, what's your feelings?
2-0 Hearts.
Is this because you're trying not to piss off your Livy podcast pals?
Him and Shanks trying not to upset.
No, the issue is I just can't see us scoring 4 goals. Like, 2-1 each half or something like that. I don't see goals in our team, and there you go.
Right, okay.
I'm being negative for once. I'm not happy clapping.
It's not like you, Tam.
Right, again.
I'm going 3-1, home win.
You think Livingston will score?
No, I think we'll score no
Own
goal.
goal.
I'll
Classic. I'll
Just-
get the whole team.
Well done, Kev.
I have the same feeling as what I did at points last season, is that we've missed so many chances that we will absolutely batter a team at some point this season. We will. Statistically, it will happen just because of the chances created and the way we are. And I don't think it'll be Saturday.
No, I knew that was coming.
But I don't think Hearts will lose. But I think I would like to see what we saw away from home. We've been very good away to Ross County, away to Dundee United, away to St Mirren. We've been good. We are suited to playing away from home where we can kind of counter attack, or do you know what I mean? We don't have to worry about too much about imposing our game onto our team. At home, when the onus is on us to set tempo, to get at teams or whatever, is where we've probably struggled the most. We're going to play against a stuffy team that will come, they'll be physical, they will try and stop us getting the ball to our better players, there'll be niggly fouls, all that sort of stuff, and Hearts need to show that they can, go and dictate and sort of look at like what Rangers were last night with Livingston for the first 45 minutes. They were passive, side-to-side passing, no penetration, as we've said loads and loads about us. And it just suits Livingston. Do you know what I mean? 10 men behind the ball, pressing, chasing down, doing the dirty work. They're happy to do that. Do you know what I mean? They're happy to do that. So Hearts need to offer something different on Saturday. I think Hearts will win 2-0. That is my prediction for Saturday. And that your pals' teeth will be on the Gorgie Road. That is what I see happening. That's pretty much it. Anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Nah, I don't think so. I just look forward to battering the Livy lads on Saturday in the pub. And if
that'll be fun.
I'll have a right good laugh.
Well, don't batter too many of them, because then they won't have an away crowd. You know what I mean? 6 of them show up. If you batter all of them, then there'll be nobody in the stand.
Let's get the £32 or whatever it is for a ticket.
Yeah, that's what you want. Cool, right, boys. Let's. Obviously, we've not been doing live reactions because we'll be at the game. So we will see you all next Tuesday.
See you later.
Bye.
Gorgero.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Bike Speed UK. Any Jambo using the promo code ThisIsMyStory will get 10% off at checkout.
For every biker's every need, think Bike Speed UK. From motorcycle parts and accessories to the best biker wear. Think bike, think Bike Speed UK.